Do you think the American church is dead? Or maybe the church you're going to is dead? This is Pastor Philip Huggins from First Baptist Church in Rochester, Pennsylvania. When I took our church, we had about 40 people in our church. Today, we have about 15 or 20. As I've talked to other pastors, COVID may have killed a lot of people and a lot of people died. A lot of churches have struggled as a result of COVID. So I want to tell you today that while many churches are struggling, the church is alive and well. I think when we ask ourselves the question, is the American church dead? Oftentimes we go back to the traditional measurements of budgets and butts and just counting how much money, how many people are in the pews, baptisms. But the reality is church health. When we ask the church if it's alive or dead, we're asking about church health. It's a very personal conversation for me. A little over a month ago now, we as a church had a business meeting and we had a very hard decision to make. Do we disband? Do we quit? i.e., do we die? At that meeting, we came up with a novel idea. We had 15 people in the church. I know, let's start a Saturday service with 15 people and divide that in half. Novel, out of the world. Churches that are dead or churches that are dying are churches that don't want to think about getting out of the box. Now, since we've done that 6 weeks ago, we have had a visitor every weekend. We have had more visitors in the last 6 weeks than we've had in the previous year combined. The American church doesn't have to be dead. But on the other hand, their churches got 100, 150 people in them on a Sunday morning, and they are stone cold dead. The budget's being made, the kids are getting baptized, but they're not healthy. There's no life going on in that church. And so when we think about this, we need to be asking ourselves the question, what really is health? What really is death? And as we look out and you're trying to find a church, we can't go to the church that has the most cars in the parking lot, because that's usually where people pick. We got to find a church that's got life, church that is making an impact, making a difference in people's lives. Several years ago, I was at a church where I was the pastor, and we called a young man to be our youth pastor. That man came in. We were a very traditional church. Just out of seminary, he had all these wild ideas. And we realized soon that he wasn't going to be a good fit in our church. So I sent him to a different church that was more of a cutting-edge church. They can say, well, that was a bad mistake. No. We're about investing in lives and building people. We may look at attendance. I pastor a Southern Baptist church. Southern Baptist church, convention-wise, numbers have been down for years. Baptism have been down for years. But the reality is, if you look at our church plants, new life. No other denomination is as successful in planting new churches as the Southern Baptist Convention. Almost 60% of all our new church plants are in ethnic churches. America is such a diverse country. So we say, is the church dead? The church is alive and well. If we look around, many churches are dead, but the church is alive and well. We got all these new church plants are going in. Successful, new life. I think the question we need to ask is not, is the church dead? But to be real honest with us, we have to ask the question, am I dead? Am I spiritually dead? Have I lost my passion? Have I lost my vision? Have I lost the excitement of the joy of the Lord being my strength, and the excitement of sharing the gospel with somebody, the excitement of being able to get into the Word of God and find something new and something vibrant that I never saw before? That's how we really determine if the American church is alive or if the American church is dead. Not by how many baptisms, not by how many butts are in the seat, not by how big the budget is, not how many cars are in the parking lot. But is that church making a difference in lives? You know, I go back and I talked about the 20 people or so that are here on a Saturday night and a Sunday morning. About 10 on Saturday night come and 10 that come on Sunday morning. Of those 20 people, we have a couple that have just started to come who were hurt by other churches who are now finally coming and they find a place where they can connect. We find a man who is recovering from the loss of his wife that is now able to connect. We're finding another couple that is coming that because of personal issues in their life, they come to church and this hour that they sit here is an hour of rest and relaxation and rehabilitation for them. Another lady that comes, now, only got 20 people, another lady that comes. In the last year, she's lost her mother and her brother, to whom she lived with. This is a place of peace and solitude of healing for her. You may come into my church and you say, well, there's only 20 people here, or there's only 10. But we're alive, we're healthy. We're making a difference in people's lives. That's the key in determining if the American church is dead or if the American church is alive. I think if you look around, you'll find the American church is very much alive and thriving.